Hey everybody, it's Pastor Fredo here. This is my lovely wife Ashley, and welcome to
Real Talk with the Ramoses.
This is episode 2, in case you are keeping track, and we are so excited to be with you guys tonight.
Okay, so we are gonna do a little icebreaker, get to know your pastor, and I have a couple questions that we are going to ask. Okay, question number 1. What is your favorite genre of movies?
Oh man, I've always been a fan of a good drama. I like a good drama in my life. Crime drama, murder drama, any kind of drama I'm into, I love to watch. I'm hooked from the beginning.
Okay, what song have you completely memorized?
Man, growing up, I've always been a huge fan of hip hop. Ever since I was a young kid, and even through high school, the one rapper that always just got my attention was Eminem. And so I am not ashamed to say that I know the entire song by Eminem, Lose Yourself. It won a Grammy of all things, or it won an Oscar of all things. He starred in the movie 8 Mile. It was incredible. It was incredible. I don't know if I'd recommend you go see it, but I watched it as a kid and I memorized that song, Lose Yourself. So yeah.
Cool. Are your hands sweaty?
Oh yeah, hands sweaty, knees are weak, arms are heavy.
Okay.
I got spaghetti on my sweater already.
All right, question number 3. What is your favorite way to start the day?
Oh man, going from like silly to serious. Man, it's hard for me to say that there's anything better than this. I love starting my day with silence. I love just kind of waking up. Hopefully, my mind and my heart is like just drawn to attention that like God is there and God is with me and He got me awake. And if I could just take some moments to be with Him, to sit in silence, to kind of gather myself. I'm prone to wake up and already be worried about something or be thinking about something, especially in a time like this. And so, yeah, silence. I love starting my day with silence. So I know it's something we've tried to practice too. We're not perfect at it, but it's something that we try to practice together.
Alrighty, so we have actually had a question be sent to us, and the question says, what have been some challenges and some blessings being quarantined with little kids?
Oh man.
So I'm gonna let him talk about that first.
There's a lot. There's a lot of challenges. We have 2 kids, Eli and Ella. Eli is 6, he's in kindergarten, and by the mercy of God, he will graduate kindergarten with his teacher here and his principal here.
No, Miss McCoy is done.
Yeah, his teacher's here. Miss McCoy, if you're watching this, we can really love to have you visit the house. Because 2 things did not come home with our son. Number 1, you, our kindergarten teacher, and 2, Eli's listening skills. Those 2 things did not come home with him during this quarantine, but his homework did. But yeah, some real challenges, honestly, would just be me in the same exact seat during the day, both parenting and working. And so there's times as a pastor, we're during this time just trying to call people and connect with people at our church. And it's been crazy how I'll be on the phone with someone saying, hey, it's Pastor Fredo from Sandals Church, Palm Avenue. Hi, Catherine, how you doing? And then I'm kind of silent snapping at my son in the background to like be quiet because he's not listening to his mom tell him the same thing for the 4th time. And so just that tension of like parenting and working from the same exact position all day is just strange. And it's very new, I know, for a lot of us who are in this position. And so it's been a real challenge. But I would say the blessing in that is that God has revealed to me like some real things that have been in my heart that I would not be aware of had we not been in this quarantine, right? So I feel like God is using time in the home almost as like this magnifying glass that exposes and like enlarges what is really going on inside. And so it's, yes, it's been a challenge for all kinds of reasons with young kids, but at the same time, it's helped. God's used it in a way to just show me things about myself that I need to work on and that I need to address, whether it's being a better husband, a better father, a better follower of Jesus. And so both with the challenges, there's also been some blessings that have come along with it. So anything that you might add to that?
Yeah, I obviously agree with that, but I would say the nonstop demands are exhausting, and that's been a challenge. Just giving grace to them and also receiving grace from God, especially when I put them to bed and I'm like sad that I was mad that day, or like I should have been more patient. So just like giving myself more grace in you know, the whole parenting thing. But I say every day just looks different. And today we actually had a really good day.
Yeah, we had a fantastic day. We prayed for it. God showed it to us and gave it to us. But yeah, so what I'm trying to say is every day just looks different. And I know that for us, it could look really good, and then tomorrow could be terrible.
Tomorrow could be really crazy and be complete opposite. But no matter where you're at in your life, everyone's lives are different, but we do have one specific thing is, you know, parenting and having to choose our battles. And every single day, we have to choose, like, are we gonna argue with a 6-year-old today about the same old thing, or even a 2-year-old, you know, about why she can't have green juice again for the 6th time, you know, when I'm trying to do something or think, or even be still and be quiet with God, which is so hard. But those are definitely my top challenges, I feel. But the blessings that come out of it it's actually really funny when you think about it. But my word for this year, I feel like God gave me was to, what is it called? Oh my gosh, I
talk about being intentional.
Yes, my word was intentional. I could not think about that. I mean, think of the word. But my word was intentional. And when all this happened, it was just crazy that everything that I really wanted to do with my kids and everything that I've been trying to do, I'm actually doing because I'm forced to do with my kids right now. Like, just everything, every intentional thing. I'm having intentional conversations, having intentional time. I mean, we're having intentional walks. We're just intentionally playing. Every single thing we're doing is intentional. I'm teaching them things, and it's been really cool. So that's been the blessing of all that's been happening and having the kids around a lot. But I don't know. I think that's pretty much it for me.
Yeah, I would say one thing that Ash has been really good at, as we try to face a challenge of like doing both like our just life together, education, work, trying to meet needs of our church members all in one day, and trying to have some kind of flow throughout that day has been a real challenge. And so she's done great at trying to introduce some kind of structure. But it's a challenge because it's a new structure, right? This is not our previous normal. Like we're trying to process and grieve all that we've lost in our old routines, while at the same time like adopt new routines that keep us sane and honor Jesus and are good for our family and good for other people. And it's been a real challenge to kind of try to adopt those new routines. But I think what's been the blessing is we try to engage in different environments with our young kids. And so we try to spend time maybe at the table where they're doing like focused work on their worksheet, or they're watching some video, or they're practicing their math, or whatever it is that the teacher has them assign that day. Then we'll go to another room and try to give them some activity time, or we'll go outside, right? And so if you can maybe try to find moments where you can break up the day based on environment and choose a different space for them to be in, it can be really helpful, just to give you a little bit of saving grace. Even if that means like you send them to their room for an hour and like make them find something to do, because you'll be amazed at what they can like lead themselves to do. Hopefully not in a bad way, but like in a good way. They can do some pretty creative things, which is really helpful for them, and it gives you a nice break. And I think that's what's been a blessing, is I feel like I'm discovering more about my kids and even about Ashley during this time, because we are so face to face and even shoulder to shoulder now more than ever. And so the blessing in that has been like just discovering the new things about them, the way they act, new words that they're picking up, new habits they're picking up. Like you really get to see all the different ins and outs of your house that maybe you took for granted, and the different ways that you can utilize space at different moments of the day. Yes, it's a challenge. Yes, it takes time. So as Ashley said, you got to give yourself grace, Like you're going to be on this day really good, on the next day it can be terrible, and you got to just go with it. Like it's okay. God is more concerned, I think, about the kind of person that you're becoming through this whole season than the things that you're doing every single day and feeling like you got to do them perfectly every single day. Like give yourself grace because God has grace for you in this situation. So I would say those few things on that.
For me, I want to add to the moms who have babies that are not in those seasons where they could do something in their room or even by themselves. It's okay to say no. And that's what was really hard for me, to, give myself space, because you have literally no space. You go to the restroom, they're there. You go to the living room, they're there. You go. They just literally follow you. And if it's not them, it's my dog. It's literally, they have no personal space. So for me in this time, I felt like it's been, I just keep hearing myself tell myself it's okay to tell them no. Especially like my son, like he just nonstop wants to play. And like I play and it's just exhausting, but it's okay to say no. Give yourself like a specific time of the day where it's literally just for you, and whether that is nap time or it's quiet time, and whatever that means. Like literally give them the iPad so they can give you some space. Like obviously there's boundaries, I guess you could say. But in this time it's just really hard because you can't just pick up and go and keep them busy or do anything. But doing things that keep them busy, I guess, like knowing in each season of their lives.
That's so good, honey. There's two things that we joke about. We say, man, COVID-19 has stopped everything except bills and our kids' demands. Like those two things keep going. And so I love that idea of just like telling them no. And as you tell them no or decide to give them certain things like screen time, like don't feel guilty about some of that. And don't feel guilty like you're not spending time with God. Like I have realized in more moments of like holding my daughter Ella or playing hoop with Eli or just doing something with them and smiling at them and laughing with them as I'm their parent, like that's the way that God laughs and smiles over me. And so there is something really spiritual and beautiful that's happening with your time with your kids. And so don't feel like, man, I'm missing time out in prayer or reading. Like use those human interactions as a way to also connect with God and be reminded of the things that He promises about you and His relationship to you, because those things can be powerful like signs and reminders to you that the same way that you get excited about your kids and spend time doing something silly with them is the way that God is with you, even in this strange new season that we all kind of find ourselves in. So be encouraged in that, hopefully.
Yeah.
You got a next question?
I mean, challenges and blessing, that's what we're going over. So if you can think of anything else.
Challenges. Man.
I feel like there's so many that
I say expectations too.
Yes.
Expectations. Manage your expectations. Like manage what you think you're actually going to get done in this particular day. Don't have these crazy goals. Like I saw, like it became pretty popular on social media. Everyone was like posting, their top 30 things they're gonna do during quarantine, and it's like it feels almost daunting and like, oh man, I'm never gonna be able to climb that mountain. And you probably won't. That's okay. Manage your expectations as to what you think is actually going to happen today. Lead yourself, be led by God in the way that you seek Him. And then just kind of see how the day goes as you try to introduce structure, introduce structure. Can't say introduce tonight, but introduce structure, but also be ready for the spontaneity, like the spontaneous things that happen too. I think both of those things work together in a really kind of cool way that brings about your day, both structure and spontaneity. And so just kind of go with that and be led by God. Listen, if you're a single parent, and not doing this with a spouse, man, my heart goes out to you. And I want to let you know that our church is praying for you. Our church desires to help you and figure out how we can meet your needs even in this time, because you got your hands extra full as you do this alone. And so don't hesitate to reach out to us, to ask us for help, or to call some of your friends, people in your life who you know love you and you can trust them, and just ask them to help manage your expectations, to maybe even see if there's some things that they can help do for you while you carry such a significant load during the season too. So
that's great. You mentioned mountains and like it's okay not if you didn't climb it.
No, yeah.
I want to just like add to that about like you literally have your own mountain. So like that was their mountain that they posted and that's something that they can climb.
Wow.
But you have your own mountain that God has given you that you can climb and that you can do, you know, and that's something I want to kind of encourage, I guess, with that is don't just get discouraged that someone else is doing something. Like you could do that too because you have your own season of life and your own things. Like you can't, anyways, in life, you can't look at other people through social media and be like, oh, I'm never going to be like them. Of course, you're yourself. Like God created you uniquely and wants to do things through you specifically and use your voice, not their voice, you know? So that those mountains and this season specifically, like, this happened, you know, at a time that like we all didn't ask for it, but he knows exactly like what we need in this season of our life. And for me personally, it's been a lot of stuff that we've, you know, talked about with, you know, I was saying being intentional and all that stuff. Like it literally had to stop in its tracks because I was getting too much in my head about, you know, not being this. And as moms, it's hard sometimes, or dads too, but you know, you can get stuck in your head and you can believe those lies that are not true. And yeah,
that's a good word, honey. That's a good word. Yeah, so on that about routines, there was another question that came in.
Yeah, it says what is it? No,
it was a routine question.
That's not the question.
Yeah, you just
anyway, that was not the question.
We were going to talk
No, there is a question. But that one wasn't the question. That was like her little note to the question.
Yeah. We didn't write down the question.
We didn't write down the question. But the question asked, what are your routines look like in this time of quarantine with little kids? Yeah. But I guess you kind of touched on that already.
Yeah, I would say like, you know, create a structure. Actually, I love what she did like a few weeks ago. She immediately decided to vanish like she did right now. No, she sat down and she thought about, man, what would be a good routine and a good rhythm for us to begin practicing in light of this current situation. And so I love the initiative that she took, trying to create a routine that would both flow with what we're trying to do, because we're trying to maintain our own personal schedules. And also do something that might involve our kids in a really helpful way as they try to also do schoolwork and activity time and just keep them busy on a healthy schedule too. So in fact, she brought something over too.
But first, I just want to talk about, sorry.
No, you're okay.
Before you even make a routine, you need to sit back and think about your life and your own family and how you thrive, not how anybody else thrives, because that's not going to help you. Because you see all these things on Pinterest and you're like, oh, I want to be that mom, or I want to have that, you know, all set up, and then you print it out and you're like, oh my gosh, my day did not go like that at all. But you know your routine, you know your life, you know your kids. You know, they probably won't sit down for the Play-Doh, you know, like just so many things. You know your life. So that's where is take a, what is it called? Like a, not, what's it called? Wash on. But
yeah. You wash in a car, girl.
Wax on or wax out. That's
just take inventory.
But inventory, that's the word.
Inventory.
Okay.
Inventory.
Take inventory of your life. And I think that's where it's just, you got to start. And I'm not sitting here saying that our life is perfect. This is the only way you can do something. But that's what we did. I sat down and I thought about what is something that can benefit my family, not everybody else's family. And I literally found this template on this girl from Instagram. She had it empty. It's obviously backwards, but from, it just literally is a routine. Like, I know a lot of people already have routines, but that's something that we never had. We're super chill, go with the flow every single day in life. Like, we weren't like that. So when this happened, and we already were like 2 days in. We lost our marbles. Like it was gone. Those kids were like,
we had a fight. We had a fight day one of the quarantine.
Day one quarantine. He was just too much for me to handle. The kids were too much for me to handle. So I just came up with something simple. I taped it to the wall so the kids know I mean business.
And what goes on that wall?
And what goes on the wall? Yes.
It's business when it's on the wall.
But it's literally simple. So like from 8 to 11, I make sure Eli fixes his bed. He brushes his teeth, wash face, and comb his hair because, you know, homie, if he ain't going to school, you got to make sure these things.
You look right.
Yes. And then, so for me, it's like I personally want this. It's stretching and prayer and memory verse and then reading time and then breakfast. They can eat when they eat. Just kidding. But the stretches and prayers really where we come in, and it doesn't matter what time. So I put it from 8 to 11, however the day happens. Sometimes the kids wake up later. Sometimes we wake up later, and it's just nice to do something that we want to do. Mm-hmm. So that's important to us, is the quietness and silence. So we do our stretches in the morning, and then we pray, and then we read a memory verse. And that memory verse literally happened today. We're sitting there reading the verse, and the kids were literally not even listening. Yeah. But the whole point of it was the rhythm and the understanding of them knowing that, like, this is what we do. Exactly. And this is what's going on, you know, what's going on. They are subconsciously listening, though, because I didn't hear Eli say something. But
what I love about this so much too is that what Ashley did was she essentially took our routine and incorporated Eli and Ella into it, right? So she didn't try to like build, you know, our routine and then their routine and then like try to make them both kind of run parallel. No, she actually just found a way to incorporate what they need to get done on a daily basis into what we need to get done on a daily basis, and in a way like invited them into the flow of our lives. And it's actually proven helpful. It hasn't been like something that feels overbearing because we're trying to do two different schedules at once. Now we've created one schedule. It's a schedule that works for us because we're leading this home together, and it's something that we have invited our kids to be a part of. We do this, and so we would love for you to do this with us as well too. And I think if you kind of approach it with that angle, it might alleviate some of the pressure and the tension of like trying to balance all these crazy calendars. No, your kids will adjust to you. Your young kids can adjust to you, and a lot of times they will enjoy doing it. And as Ash said, like this morning, she was reading the verse in a little swing. Like they weren't paying attention at all. I had to turn in Eli from the kitchen. I was making my breakfast shake. I said, son, you better start listening to your mom. And she reads that verse. And then all of a sudden, like later, like he spits it out. So like, they may not in the moment seem like they're paying attention, but there is something that's happening as they are invited into our rhythm and in some way being shaped by the things that we already want to do together that we know are important for us. So
yeah, and
that's
it's
been
not
really helpful.
Sorry.
No, you're good.
It's not about perfection, and I know that could be really hard for some people. This is simply just a guide. Like I wrote these things down, and I'm like, oh my gosh, it's already like 3 o'clock. What are we gonna do around this time? Like, oh, let's, you know, color or paint. You know, let's go outside. Let's go do something. It's literally just a guide, and if none of this happens, it's fine. Like. Yeah. It's simply just a guide to help you get your life in order. And I know this is not new for a lot of you people. Like, this is new for us. Maybe it's helpful for some people who need to start a routine with their kids, you know, and maybe you both work. So right now he is working, and I feel like that video that went viral with the husband on the computer doing his like meeting, and then the lady runs in and grabs the kids. That's literally me all day, because we have a very small house, so it's got to make sure those kids are quiet on top of doing everything is exhausting in itself. So like literally, I was in this seat right behind me, right here, in a premarital meeting today with a couple who's trying to get married in the midst of this pandemic, and in runs my son because his swim trunks don't fit him, as if like I got the solution to him. He can tell I'm in a meeting, and what was originally his need to get new swim trunks turned into him just trying to dance in the background with this couple. And I'm in like the middle of like this deep thought about forgiveness and stepping into this marriage. And there goes my half-naked son dancing in the background. It's like,
The couple gets it. They love it. They're laughing. You know, they understand. So like, this is just the time that we're living in right now. And so
it literally happened in seconds because I was trying to fix the water hose, and they're like, Eli, no.
Yeah. And honestly, like some of you guys, like you're on your little spreadsheet, or you're in a meeting, and your kid pops around and like, hey, can I get a granola bar? And it's like, man, I don't care. Like, grab something, you know. Like that, we understand the demands don't stop, and so I love your word on like this not being a perfect thing to try to figure out, but at the same time, like it can really be a really powerful tool moving forward as you try to, you know, manage, and not just manage, but raise kids in the midst of a quarantine like this that we're all kind of facing together. And honestly, one of the things that I would challenge all of us to think about and embrace really is the idea that the God that we worship and the God that we follow in Jesus is the God of resurrection. And by that, I mean, he takes things that are fading away, dying in decay, things that we've lost, and he brings something new out of them. In other words, he births something new and beautiful out of the things that have been lost in our lives. And for all of us, COVID-19 has caused an incredibly great loss. It's strange, it's bizarre, it's affecting all of us in different ways, but without a doubt, it's still a loss. And so it's important for us to consider that God still is the God of resurrection. And in this, he's going to bring to life new things. And so I would ask yourself, or I would challenge you to ask God and yourself, like, what are some new things that he wants to bring out of this situation? What are some new things that he may want to introduce to my routine, to my life, to my spiritual life? And be open to what he might say. You'll be amazed at what you can learn about God when you look at the face of your children and you watch what they do and you watch what they say and you watch how they interact with you. And so embrace this unique, strange situation, because I believe there really is a special kind of grace that God is giving us for this situation and for this time. It is changing us. It will change us. And I love what Pastor Matt said last week, even on Real Talk. He said, you know, we're all going through this together, but we're all going to come out of this situation very, very different. And if we embrace the God of resurrection, the God who brings life out of death and out of loss, and believe that he's going to shape us and form us, like that's something that can happen to all of us. And so I would encourage you, you know, spend time reading 1 Corinthians 15. Spend time in the Psalms. They're songs and prayers. They're poems that the people of God have been saying for so many years, hundreds of years. And many of them are what we call prayers of lament. In other words, they're crying out to God. They're asking God to show up, asking God to provide, asking God to rescue them out of their situation. And those psalms are written so that we would also pray like them. I said those poems are written. Those psalms. Yeah, it's okay. It's okay. Those psalms are written for our benefit. They're instructive. They're meant for us to also recite as well as we kind of find ourselves in this situation. And so as you think about your routines, man, embrace both the structure and kind of a spontaneity, but also, man, hold on and look to the God of resurrection who brings new life out of death, especially for young parents with young kids. I mean, imagine what this is going to be doing to you moving forward, and what beautiful things God can draw out of your life, out of your marriage, out of your family, and even out of your kids. I've tried to find different ways to talk to Eli about the pandemic, about the situation that we're all in right now. Obviously, because of the fact that he's 6, there's only some things that he can really grasp about it. But still, nonetheless, I want him to know that God is very active and God is here with us, even in the midst of that. And he gets to experience that in a really, really special way. This is a unique time. Maybe it's not a gift at all, but it is a unique time that we can embrace God in. And so, and we get to do this in a strange way also together, right? We're all scattered, we're all quarantined in our homes, but in a strange way, we're also connected together because we're all experiencing it in similar ways. And so we can lean on each other as we try to listen and see what God is doing in the midst of our lives during this time. So, yeah.
We had one more question.
Oh, yeah. How many fights? How many fights have we had in quarantine? The answer to that question is we've had 2 fights. The first fight was on day 1 of the quarantine. You remember that one, honey?
Oh my! They were all for me. I was the one. I started all the fights.
Yeah, she was afraid, for good reason, I should say.
Okay, let me chit chat. Okay, so the first fight was okay. We went grocery shopping, and I was nervous. Okay, he doesn't like. Okay, he doesn't like control his eating, so I got really scared that he was gonna eat all the quarantine snacks.
This is day 1.
I know.
Day 1, she comes home and says, I'm worried you're gonna eat all the snacks.
Well, no, as you were like done with the whole bag of pita chips.
That's true. I was eating something. I was eating some pita chips.
He already finished the first bag of pita chips.
I was going to town on some pita chips.
Anyways, there were deeper issues there, so that's what led the fight. Though I was like, "Ooh, we're over here stuck." So I'm about to fight.
When it comes to food, I'm not considerate. I devour what's in front of me. I graze like a free billy goat on the fields, eating all the grass that I want. And so I was going to town on pita chips.
Yeah, but it's not all the grass here. Yeah. You know.
The second fight was
me again.
Yeah.
You know what? Sometimes we're bugging.
We had this big head of cauliflower that we were gonna do buffalo cauliflower
wings.
Yeah, yes. Buffalo cauliflower wings.
Anyways.
And we thought they were moldy. Anyways.
Yeah, there wasn't even
they were just bruised.
But I did get mad and I threw the cauliflower in the sink. I was like, forget you. Well, I didn't say that, but to the cauliflower.
Yeah. So but do it on your own.
Yeah.
This frozen cauliflower just shoots everywhere. I'm like, oh,
I was mad.
Okay.
But there were deeper issues. Obviously, I have a lot of deep issues.
Yeah. So clearly.
I have a lot of deeper issues that everything just piles up and other things trigger it and I get all mad. But there have been some fights. What?
That's good.
We've had.
Yeah, we've had.
I mean, not too. I mean, I'm not gonna not say we haven't, but we definitely have.
Yeah.
We've had some fights. It's also been a really good time too. So it's been like a really big balance of just learning new life, new rhythms, what the new normal is, and I think at this time it's gotten a little. I mean, that was just yesterday, though, so...
Yeah, it's gotten better. Well, here's the thing that we've both learned through our arguments and fights is, like, God's actually used them for us to connect on a deeper level on those particular issues. And so it's been really helpful. And I've been reminded that, like, God doesn't waste anything, even our fights. God does not waste our fights. And so be thinking about, man, what is God trying to say to me? What's he trying to say to her? What's he trying to say to us through this process? And we've actually come out the other side much better than before. And so as frustrating and painful as they are, as humbling as they are.
And you can't go anywhere, though.
Yeah, you can't go anywhere.
So we were fighting, and then we're like, all right, literally trying to avoid eye contact as he's pushing my daughter in the swing. And then I made like a really cool basketball shot, but I didn't, like I wanted to tell him, but I didn't want to tell him, so I had to like be mad at him still. And I'm really prideful, so it's like really hard because I'm not the first to say sorry, but... yes, there have been fights, and it's been cool, not cool, but good, because we're able to resolve them quicker because we can't run anywhere, go anywhere, do anything. So, yeah.
And so on that, we just want to encourage you guys to stay, like, just stay the course. God is here, and God is present. He is doing something in the midst of this. And so we want to, as a church together, experience him, have a real relationship with him through this process. As up and down as we go, like he's here, he's with us, he is holding us in this season. He is holding you during this COVID-19 crisis. He's holding you. He's holding your family. He's holding your kids. He's holding your routine. And so grab a hold of him and his love and what he wants to say to you each and every day. And man, I believe something beautiful is going to come from that. So hopefully this has been helpful. It's been fun for us. We love you guys. And let me just close by just praying a quick little blessing over you And it's actually been a song that we as a church has been singing each and every weekend. Man, we play this song almost every day, it feels like. I know Eli asked for it at night to help him just go to sleep and rest. And so let me just pray this blessing over all of you guys. So you can go ahead and bow your heads. Let's pray together. God, we pray that you would be gracious to us. And God, you would make your face shine upon us. And that we would experience your peace and your presence during this time. God, help us to trust in you and give us confidence and hope, knowing that you go before us in this difficult and strange season. Give us your grace and open up our eyes and our hearts to see just the beauty of who you are and how your gospel is still good news for our lives even today. We pray these things in Jesus' name. Amen.
Amen.
Amen. We love you guys. We'll see you soon. Bye.